first things first, when you come to the charts, you need to look at candlesticks. Candlesticks are so crucial. I know some of you probably, or most of you have probably seen candlesticks and know what a candlestick is, but I don't think a lot of you understand how they're formed. Maybe you do know how it's formed, but you don't know how to utilize that to your advantage. Now, I'm going to explain that all throughout all of this. Right, so candlesticks, let's quickly go over this. When a candle opens, so a bullish candle, so this is a bullish candle, which means that price goes up. So over here, when price opens up, so when this candle opens up, it will open up here, and right at the bottom of it, this is where the open is. And as price moves down and then moves up, it creates this wick. So after the open of the candle, wherever it's moved, it will leave behind this wick. And this is, these things right here, they are called wicks. They look just like the candle wicks. So a candle opens up, it pushes down and then pushes up and then pushes down. Wherever that candle's gone, it will leave behind a wick. Crucial. And then when the candle closes, so let's say, for example, this is a 1 hour candle. At 9 o'clock, nice 1 hour time, cool. At 9 o'clock, this candle opens up. And within that 9 hour, this whole candle tells me that between 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock, price moved down to here, then moved up all the way up here. And then finally at 10 o'clock, it closed over here. So this tells me all throughout that 1 hour what price did. Now obviously when you start dropping time frames, you can look at the 15 minutes. So the 4 15 minute candles you can look at within this 1 hour candle, and you can see what price did exactly on the lower time frames. So again, over here, this is a bearish candle. When this opens up, the open is actually on top. A bullish candle, the open is at the bottom, and a bearish candle, the open is at the top. So a bearish candle is when price goes down. So within 1 hour, so let's say between 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock, this candle tells me that price moved up and then moved down and then closed over here. So between 9 o'clock open over here and 10 o'clock close over here. So this is what price looks like within that 1 hour. So now it's telling me that in that 1 hour candle, we were bearish. Price was moving down within that hour. And over here, price was moving up within that 1 hour time frame. So between 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock. It doesn't have to be 9 and 10, it could be any time, but this, let's just say this is a 1 hour candle. So the open will be at the top for a bearish candle. This is the open. And then price moves up, creates this high, and creates a wick. It leaves behind a wick. And then price starts moving down, 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 pushes down to here, retraces up a bit, and then closes. So this is the close, this is the open, and this is the high that was made, and this is the low that was made. Same thing over here for the bullish candle. This is the high that was made, and this is the low that was made. This is basically just the very basics of a candlestick. Now here's the crucial part. At one point, this bullish candle looked bearish. So crucial. This candle that's bullish looked bearish at one point. So at one point, this candle, when it opened to create this bottom wick, the candle was red. And then it finally flipped back to bullish and then became green. Let's just say bullish is green, bearish is red. Obviously my chart colors are a bit different, but just for example's sake, this is what most people are used to. At one point, this candle, when it opened up, it looked like that. Understand that. At one point, this candle, when it opened up, it just looked like this. It looked bearish. That doesn't mean the candle is bearish. It could just be making the bottom wick. That's so crucial, because when it comes to the strategy that I use, not really strategy, but the concepts that I use, but understanding that when it comes to market structure, we'll go through that, don't worry. At one point, candles will look like this. That doesn't mean it's bearish, it's just potentially making the bottom wick to then flip bullish and continue up. Now imagine that would then be green. But at one point, this candle looked like that. Very, very crucial. We'll go through that later on. Don't worry about that. Same for this candle right here that's bearish. At one point, this candle was actually green. It actually looked like this. This candle right here, when it opened up, it looked like that. But then when this finally pushed back down and then flipped bearish and continued down, that's when it went back to red and left behind this wick. So at one point, remember, this looked like this. That doesn't mean the candle or the price is bullish. It just means price is making a wick, grabbing liquidity, grabbing orders, following market structure. It doesn't mean it is bearish just because it's open and it's green. Bullish. It doesn't mean that it's bullish just because it's green and it's pushed up. It could just be making the top wick for this bearish candle. Very, very crucial. So this is basically just the first quick episode of what a candlestick is, what it looks like, and how it forms. Now let me just scroll down and we can look at what prices. Oh, okay. This is my position right now. Completely side point. This is my FTMO trade right now. It's up like, my account's up like 40k, but all right. Anyways, look, you see all of these candles right here. Price is, let's say, okay, let's get a nice chunky candle. Oh yes. So let me go into the daily candle and let me show you this. So this candle, let's say this one right here. You can see this one right here. This one right here. You can see the daily candle had this bottom wick. You can see bottom wick right there. Right there. At one point, this candle looked like that because my bearish candles are black, but imagine at one point this candle looked like this and then it flipped bullish and continued up to then be pink. So again, same thing as we just learned up here. At one point this daily candle looked bearish. However, then it flipped bullish and continued up, and then it closed as bullish. Same thing here. At one point, this candle right now that I'm in a trade right now in a buy, I basically bought when the candle was black. I didn't think price was bearish because the candle was going down. No. I bought because I anticipated that this candle is just making the bottom wick to then continue up. Now, these are things that are very, very crucial to understand. Understand that a candle needs to move down first to then move up in a bullish scenario. And to move down, usually it moves up first and then moves down. So to position yourself in the market, you have to basically try and enter before the candle flips bearish, or before the candle flips bullish in this scenario. So typically your entries will be in the wicks of the candles. So when a candle opens up, let's say bullish scenario, candle opens up and it starts pushing down. So let's say market structure is pushing up, 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 up. Daily candles are pushing up bullish every single day. Now, every single day that candle will open and at one point it'll push down. It will look bearish, but that's most likely just making the bottom wick. And if you buy at that bottom wick, now you can expect potentially in a bullish market structure, you can expect price to then flip bullish and continue up. But you've entered all the way at the bottom over here on the wick. So now you are entering yourself right at the bottom of the move and catching all of this move on the daily candle, let's say. So that's kind of how you want to position yourself. We'll go through all of that later on, and I'll show you constant examples and what it all looks like on different time frames. Don't worry about that. But just understand what a candlestick is, how it's formed, and what it looks like. So I hope you understand now what a candlestick is and what it looks like. So I'll see you in episode 2.